Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Textbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in the next session for SEBI. So, SEBI Grade A examination is round the corner, and we are trying our level best to help you guys so that you can prepare really very well and attempt the examination in the right way, so that you can answer most of the questions in the examination. So, आज का जो session है, in this session we will be discussing many questions related to finance syllabus for SEBI, and I assure you guys जिस level के question आज के इस session में discuss किए जाएंगे, there is a great probability that same level, same type of questions will be asked in your upcoming examination as well. ठीक है जी, start करें. Shall we begin the discussion? May I have a reply in the comment section if I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. Just give me a thumbs up so that we can start the discussion without any further delay. May I have a reply, please, regarding the audio and video? Let me check. Give me a thumbs up. I guess audio and video is fine. Let's begin the discussion. Here we go with the first question of the evening. The first question is now on your screen. The question says, but before that, if you want to download the PDF of this particular session, it will be available on my Telegram channel. The first question says, consider the following statement regarding the role of financial market in an economy. Financial market enables efficient allocation of capital across sectors by reflecting relative risk and return. Okay. Second is, deep financial market reduce the dependence of firms on internal accruals for expansion. Okay. Financial market development automatically ensures financial stability. Well-functioning financial market facilitate innovation by improving access to risk capital. And final statement, financial market improve the effectiveness of fiscal policy through the deficit financing. तो बताओ जरा इनमें से कौन सा पॉइंट या कौन सी स्टेटमेंट्स करेक्ट है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू फाइनेंस. If I talk about the answer to this particular question, guys, the answer to this particular question is first statement की अगर हम बात करें, the first statement is absolutely correct. Financial market enables efficient allocation of capital across, that is correct. Deep financial market, it reduce dependence of firms on internal accruals. बिल्कुल, अगर आपकी financial market में अच्छी खासी डेप्थ है, then there is no need to Okay, so I hope now it's fine. चलो, let's move on to the next question. अगले क्वेश्चन की ओर बढ़ते हैं. अगला क्वेश्चन क्या कहता है? With reference to the primary and secondary market, consider the following statements. With reference to the primary and secondary market, we have to consider the given statements. First one, liquidity in secondary market lower the risk premium demanded by investors in primary market. अगर आपके liquidity है, there is a liquidity in the market, तो liquidity in the market, that is liquidity in the secondary market, it lowers down the risk premium demanded by the investor in the primary market. बिल्कुल, क्योंकि अगर आपकी liquidity market secondary market में है, everyone is very much aware कि आज अगर हमने शेयर खरीदे, they can be sold out pretty easily in the market. तो जो प्रीमियम डिमांड है, जो प्रीमियम की डिमांड है, रिस्क प्रीमियम डिमांडेड है, दैट विल बी प्रीटी लेस. दैट इज करेक्ट. सो फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन, प्राइस डिस्कवरी इन द प्राइमरी मार्केट इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द सेकेंडरी मार्केट कंडीशन. दिस इज रॉन्ग. दिस इज रॉन्ग. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मैं इन्फोसिस की बात करूं, इन्फोसिस इज अ कंपनी विच इज ऑलरेडी पब्लिक एंड इट हैज ऑलरेडी issued its shares in the market, and now it is deciding, or it is in a I would say, discussion that it will be issuing more shares to the public, which we will call it as FPO. But the price of these shares which are going to be issued in the primary market, it will directly depend on the position of the same organization in the secondary market. So this is not correct. A vibrant secondary market improves the success of IPOs. अगर आपकी country की secondary market vibrant, that means there is huge investment, huge information flow, everyone is aware of secondary market, then whenever you will come up with an IPO, your company's information can be well distributed and the decisions will be taken pretty easily by the investors, and you can witness or you can expect huge subscription for your shares. Capital information is an indirect outcome of secondary market trading. Capital formation is an indirect outcome of secondary market trading. Capital formation occurs directly only in primary market for a company. Secondary market के केस में कंपनी के साथ कोई capital formation का रोल ही नहीं है. There is no point of discussing the term capital formation for a company in primary market. Secondary market facilitate portfolio rebalancing. Yes sir, you can rebalance your portfolio in the secondary market by investing in different industries, different sectors, different companies, different forms of financial instruments in order to manage your day-to-day operations. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया? Do reply in the comment section if it is correct. Moving on to the next news. Consider the following statement about the money market. Money market primarily deals with short-term liquidity adjustments. True. Money market का काम ही क्या है sir? It is a market where short-term financial instruments are traded, which are valid for up to 1 year. This is absolutely correct. Money market rates act as operating target of monetary policy. बिल्कुल. अगर मैं call money market की बात करूं, in case of call money market, we all know that the floor limit is standing deposit facility, the roof limit is MSF, marginal standing facility, and in the mid we have repo rate. If in this case the weighted average call rate is close to repo rate, that means repo rate or monetary policy transmission is pretty well. But if weighted average call rate is way above or way below the repo rate, then monetary policy revision is need to be done. So this is absolutely correct. Moving on to the next point. The next point says instruments traded in the money market are highly liquid and low risk. Instruments which are traded in the money market, they are highly liquid, correct. They are low risk up to an extent, yes, because most of the instruments which are traded in the money market, they are debt instruments. So keeping that in mind, it is correct. Development of money market reduces volatility in the call money rate. अगर आपकी money market is pretty well developed, then in that particular case, your volatility in the call money rate will decrease. That is correct. Money market plays no role in financial stability. This is wrong. It plays a really very important role in financial stability. So keeping that in mind, all the statements are correct except one, that is the fifth statement. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point. Let's go up with the next question. Which of the following statement regarding the forex market are correct? Foreign exchange market के aspect में इनमें से कौन सी ऐसी statement है which is correct? The first statement says, or the first point says, please pay attention. Exchange rate risk arises due to volatility in currency prices. Exchange rate risk जो है, it will increase with increase in volatility in the prices. क्या ये point सही है? Is this point correct? क्या ये point सही है? Is this point correct? Please keep on replying in the comment section. तो अगर मैं इस point की बात करूं, this is absolutely correct. Hedging instruments eliminate the exchange rate risk entirely. Not entirely, but yes, up to an extent, the risk has been removed. This is correct. Speculation in forex market can increase short-term volatility. अगर आपकी speculation increase हो जाती है in the forex market, it will increase the short-term volatility. That is correct. Arbitrage ensure uniform exchange rates across market in the long run. Arbitrage का मतलब क्या होता है? एक market में $1 is equals to 100 rupees. दूसरी मार्केट में $1 इज इक्वल टू 90 रुपीज। तो एक बंदे ने क्या किया, 90 रुपए में $1 खरीदा और उसी $1 को दूसरी मार्केट में 100 रुपए में बेच दिया। एंड दैट इंडिविजुअल हु हैज परचेज फ्रॉम हेयर, हु हैज सोल्ड इन द डिफरेंट मार्केट, हैज अर्नड a profit of 10 rupees, and that was possible because of the difference in the exchange rate. But over the period of time, this exchange rate will minimize in order to avoid the arbitrage. So arbitrage ensure uniform exchange rates. Yes, that is correct. Capital account convertibility increases forex market depth. अगर आपकी कैपिटल अकाउंट कन्वर्टिबिलिटी की बात करें, कैपिटल अकाउंट का मतलब क्या होता है सर? कैपिटल अकाउंट इंक्लूड्स the transactions of India with rest of the world, which include inward and outward flow of investment. So inward and outward flow of investment, that is FDI, FPI, as well as borrowing and lending. तो अगर आपकी convertibility means that you can convert the capital account transaction. मान लो आपने किसी से पैसा बोरो किया, अब उस पैसे को you have borrowed in foreign currency and now you are exchanging it or you are converting it into rupees. If it is allowed pretty easily, undoubtedly it will increase the forex market depth. That is correct. That is correct. So answer क्या बनेगा सर? 1, 3, 4, 5 are correct. So A option is correct. Second option is not 100% wrong, but the word they use is entirely, वहां गलत हो गया. Hedging instruments can be used to eliminate exchange rate risk. ऐसी statement होती तो I would say yes, but entirely is not correct. So keeping that in mind, A statement is correct. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point. Moving on to the next one. Credit risk arises from borrower's default. Credit risk का मतलब क्या है सर? If someone has borrowed loan from the bank and repayment is not done, so that probability of loss for the bank will be termed as credit risk. So this is correct. Market risk includes interest rate, currency and equity price risk. Correct. Liquidity risk can exist even for solvent banks. Liquidity risk का मतलब है जब बैंक के पास कैश नहीं है to service its withdrawals, that is liquidity risk, and it can be witnessed in case of a solvent bank as well. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर बैंक insolvent है तभी ये condition possible है, that is not the case. So this is correct. Operational risk include legal risk. Yes, operational risk में transaction risk है, legal risk है, operational risk में legal risk है, transaction risk है, software risk है. That is correct. Basel norm require capital for reputational risk. नहीं, Basel norms में we have included all the risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, operational risk, market risk, but reputational risk is not included. So keeping that in mind, 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct, but the fifth statement is wrong. Moving on to the next one. Which statement are correct regarding derivatives? So derivatives allow transfer of risk without transfer of ownership. Derivatives के केस में you sign an agreement, but you do not transfer the ownership. Ownership आज भी आपके पास है. For example, I am ready to sell Infosys share for 1,000 rupees per share and I have 100 shares on 30th of January. So it's just an agreement which I have signed. I have not transferred the ownership of these shares to the second party. So this is what we call it as derivative. So that is correct. Future contracts eliminate counterparty risk completely. अगर आपका future contract है तो उस केस में counterparty risk eliminate हो जाएगा? नहीं, eliminate नहीं होगा, लेकिन हाँ काउंटर पार्टी रिस्क से जो आपको लॉस होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी है वो काफी कम हो जाएगा. बिकॉज इन केस ऑफ फ्यूचर्स वी हैव स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस एंड दीज स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस दे विल एक्ट एज अ मीडिएटर टू अवॉइड एनी काइंड ऑफ काउंटर पार्टी रिस्क इन दिस केस. सो एलिमिनेट रिस्क कंप्लीटली, अगर रिस्क एलिमिनेट तक आता तो भी ठीक था, कंप्लीटली में गलत हो जाएगा. ऑप्शंस प्रोवाइड असिमेट्रिक रिस्क एक्सपोजर. ऑप्शंस दे प्रोवाइड असिमेट्रिक रिस्क, दैट इज करेक्ट. Excessive derivative use can amplify systematic risk. अगर excessive use है derivatives का in the market और अगर कल को कुछ fail हुआ तो पूरी की पूरी market fail होगी, तो that will be a systematic risk. Derivatives are primarily speculative instruments. नहीं सर, derivatives are primarily contracts which are signed to mitigate the risk. So they can be risk mitigative instruments rather than speculative instruments in first say. So I'll go with first statement. 1, 3 and 4 are correct. Fourth, second and fifth are not 100% correct. Next, which trends are visible in the global financial market? Increasing interconnectedness of markets. Yes, this is correct. Higher transmission of financial shocks. This is correct. जो financial shocks हैं उनका transmission काफ़ी high है. Declining relevance of national regulators. नहीं सर, इससे national regulators का relevance कम नहीं हुआ बल्कि बढ़ गया, because we are trying to achieve the global standards, जिसके लिए we need the national regulators to perform really very well. Greater role of institutional investors. Yes sir. Expansion of offshore financial centers has also witnessed. This is also correct. So this is the correct answer. 1, 2, 4, 5 are the correct answers with respect to global financial market. Next, financial inclusion means including more and more public, or financial inclusion basically means giving access to the financial services to the weaker section of the society at affordable cost. That is financial inclusion. It contributes to poverty alleviation. बिल्कुल, अगर financial inclusion है, you can receive the government subsidies in a seamless manner. Poverty will be alleviated. That is correct. इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, इसमें कोई गलती नहीं है. Formalization of economy, obviously. Economy will be more formal. Everyone will be borrowing funds from the banks rather than local money lenders. Improved monetary policy transmission. बिल्कुल, अगर आप बैंक से लोन ले रहे हैं तो बैंक के lending rates will change due to monetary policy, and its transmission, its impact till the last man in the last village will be more appropriate. It results in elimination of inequality. ये correct नहीं है. Elimination of inequality में यहाँ पे अगर income inequality आ जाए तो ये incorrect है, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ अगर यहाँ पे financial inequality आ जाए या financial सर्विस इनइक्वालिटी आ जाए तो ये सही भी हो सकता है. बट इफ इट इज ओनली इनइक्वालिटी, आई विल टेक इट एज डिफॉल्ट इनकम इनइक्वालिटी, व्हिच इज रॉन्ग. It results in greater financial stability. Yes, financial stability will increase due to increase in financial inclusion, due to more and more public getting connected with the formal sector of the country. Which are the characteristics of alternate finances? Alternate finances, they are higher risk appetite. Yes, that is the reason they invest in startups or SMEs. These investments are done for longer period. That is correct. Greater tolerance for innovation failure. No. They have very less tolerance for innovation failure, because they always they have yes, they have greater tolerance for innovation failure, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि आज अगर हमने पैसा लगाया innovation पे वो नहीं हुआ, we'll give a try again so that finally the innovation is done. अगर एक बार innovation हो गया, our entire investment will be recovered with flying colors. Guaranteed returns? No sir, alternative investment fund में कोई guaranteed return नहीं है. It is invested in equity. You may or may not get return. Reduce dependence on bank credit? Yes. Alternate source of finance का part है alternative financial institutes or alternative investment funds. So obviously they decrease the dependency of the companies or SMEs or startups on bank credit. This is correct. So answer to this particular question will be 1, 2, 3, 5 are correct, but the fourth statement is wrong. Next, public-private partnership framework aims to what? Public-private partnership framework aims to, first, allocate risk to the party best able to manage them. तो ट्रिपल पी का रीजन है या फिर इसका एम क्या है कि एलोकेट करना रिस्क, क्योंकि यहाँ वी हैव गवर्नमेंट, वी हैव प्राइवेट, both the parties they are working hand in hand. So obviously there will be a distribution of risk among the parties. This is correct. It will improve efficiency in public service delivery. Yes sir, it will improve the efficiency. Completely privatize public infrastructure? No sir, it's not complete privatization. It is hand in hand operations where private and public they work together. Reduce long-term fiscal burden on the government? Correct. It will enhance accountability through contracts? Yes sir, अब accountability बढ़ेगी. Government will be more accountable to the public and private investor will be more accountable to the government. So keeping that in mind, 1, 2, 4, 5 are correct, but the third statement is wrong. Guys, those who are live, please participate. Try to attempt the questions and give me the answers in the comment section. Don't sit like this. This is not going to help you. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नेंस इन बैंक्स रिक्वायर. अगर हम बैंकिंग सेक्टर की बात कर रहे हैं, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नेंस इन द बैंकिंग सेक्टर, इट रिक्वायर्स व्हाट? इंडिपेंडेंट बोर्ड ओवरसाइट. डज इट रिक्वायर इंडिपेंडेंट बोर्ड ओवरसाइट? यस सर, इंडिपेंडेंट होना चाहिए बोर्ड टू कैरी ऑन द एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑपरेशंस. रोबस्ट रिस्क कल्चर. रोबस्ट रिस्क कल्चर का मतलब क्या सर? यू शुड बी very clear about risk. You should be very keen about risk management. You should be very keen about risk mitigation. So that is correct. Transparent disclosures, correct. Government ownership dominance, ये जरूरी नहीं है, हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी. Accountability of senior management is correct. So these are the strong governance and bank requires independent board, robust risk culture, transparent disclosure and accountability of senior management. So A option is the correct answer. Moving on to the next one, e-governance contributes to what? सर अगर हम e-governance की बात करें, e-governance contributes to reduction in discretion. बिल्कुल, अगर e-governance है, it will reduce the discretion, that is correct. It will enhance transparency. yes, घर बैठे सारी चीजें मिल रही है और वो ट्रांसपेरेंटली इंटरनेट पे सारी इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल भी है. It gives you faster service delivery. घर बैठे सर्विसेज डिलीवर हो रही हैं, ईजी है, that is good. एलिमिनेशन ऑफ करप्शन एंटायरली नहीं सर, ये जरूरी नहीं है. करप्शन तो आज भी है, इवन आफ्टर मोस्ट ऑफ द सर्विसेज आर ई सर्विसेज इन द कंट्री, दे आर ई गवर्नेंस सर्विसेज इन द कंट्री, सो दिस इज नॉट करेक्ट. Improved monitoring, yes sir, it will improve the monitoring, this is correct. So keeping that in mind, A option is correct. अगला क्वेश्चन देखो, the union budget reflects government's fiscal policy stance. अगर यूनियन बजट की बात करें तो इससे हमें पता चलता है कि गवर्नमेंट का फिस्कल पॉलिसी स्टैंस क्या है, which means if government is increasing its expenditure, government wants to expand the economy, government is decreasing its expenditure intentionally, that means government wants to contract the economy in terms of money supply, in terms of inflation. Medium term growth priorities के बारे में आपको पता चलता है with the help of your budget document, this is also correct. मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी स्ट्रैटेजी का कोई लेना देना नहीं है बजट के साथ. रेवेन्यू एंड एक्सपेंडिचर प्लानिंग होगी ऑफ गवर्नमेंट्स रेवेन्यू एंड एक्सपेंडिचर, दैट इज करेक्ट. डेट मैनेजमेंट कैसे करेगी गवर्नमेंट, दिस इज ऑल्सो पोर्ट्रेड at the time of presentation of the budget, which is presented every year on 1st of February, and it will be presented this year as well. Keeping in mind कि क्या क्या बड़े बड़े changes इस बार गवर्नमेंट अनाउंस करेगी. Which are balance sheet characteristics? इनमें से कौन कौन सी characteristics हैं which are visible in case of financial statement, and which financial statement I am talking about? This is which financial statement I am talking about? So that is balance sheet. तो balance sheet के context में we have this particular point and I'm pretty sure you will be able to answer it. देखते हैं जरा क्या क्या questions हैं यहाँ पर. पहला, snapshot at a point in time. स्नैपशॉट एट अ पॉइंट इन टाइम, इसका मतलब अगर हमने बैलेंस शीट प्रेजेंट की तो बैलेंस शीट बताती है कि आज आपके पास कितनी असेट है, कितनी लायबिलिटी है. सो इट गिव्स यू द करंट स्टेटस, इट गिव्स यू द स्नैपशॉट एट अ गिवन टाइम, दिस इज करेक्ट. इट शोज लिक्विडिटी पोजीशन, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि असेट में वी हैव द करंट असेट, वी हैव द फिक्स्ड असेट, सारी डिटेल है. इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी, नहीं, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पता चलती है प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट से या इनकम स्टेटमेंट जिसे कहते हैं. इट डिस्प्लेज द कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर, बिल्कुल सर, इससे पता चलता है आपकी लायबिलिटी और आपकी इक्विटी क्या है, व्हाट वैल्यू ऑफ कैपिटल यू हैव, हाउ वेल यू हैव यूटिलाइज द कैपिटल. इट इंडिकेट सॉल्वेंसी. असेट और लायबिलिटी में जितना ज्यादा गैप होगा उतना ही ज्यादा सॉल्वेंट आपकी उतनी ही ज्यादा सॉल्वेंट आपकी कंपनी होगी. यस, इट इंडिकेट्स सॉल्वेंसी, दिस इज करेक्ट. सो ए ऑप्शन इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हुआ. व्हाट, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन. प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट हेल्प्स यू टू असेस ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसी. बिल्कुल, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट में वी यूज अ टर्म ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंस, तो उससे पता चलता है व्हाट इज आवर ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसी. इट हेल्प्स इन कॉस्ट मैनेजमेंट, बिल्कुल, इन द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट ओनली यू कट डाउन द कॉस्ट in order to achieve higher profit. So cost management is reflected in profit and loss statement. Liquidity position का कोई लेना देना नहीं. Liquidity position basically means cash in hand. That is not mentioned in the profit and loss statement. It talks about profitability, it talks about tax burden. This is correct. So A option is the correct answer. अगला देखो, cash flow analysis is important because profit may not equal cash flows. आपके कैश फ्लोज और प्रॉफिट्स डिफरेंट हो सकते हैं, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि आपका जो प्रॉफिट है जो आपको मिलना है वो आज नहीं वो कल मिले. तो कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट में तो नहीं आया, लेकिन एट द टाइम ऑफ क्रिएशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट वहां तो आपने इंक्लूड कर लिया, दैट इज करेक्ट. इट इंडिकेट्स लिक्विडिटी स्ट्रेंथ. अब with the help of companies inflow, cash inflow and cash outflow structure, we can easily analyze कि कंपनी की liquidity का क्या status है. It captures non-cash expenses. It captures non-cash expenses. No, इसमें तो सिर्फ cash expense, cash receives ही calculate की जाती है, include की जाती है. It shows financing structure changes. Yes, it shows that. It measures solvency. बिल्कुल यहाँ पे भी आप easily solvency को measure कर सकते हैं. So the answer to this particular question is A option. Moving on to the next one. High debt equity ratio का मतलब क्या? अगर आपकी debt to equity ratio ज्यादा है, हाई है, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि गैप बिटवीन डेट एंड इक्विटी इज वेरी हाई. और अगर गैप बिटवीन डेट एंड इक्विटी इज वेरी हाई, इसका मतलब क्या होगा? इट शोज हायर फाइनेंशियल रिस्क. बिल्कुल सही है सर, फाइनेंशियल रिस्क विल बी हाई. इट शोज ग्रेटर लिवरेज. लिवरेज ज्यादा होगा या कम होगा? ज्यादा होगा. दैट इज करेक्ट. लोअर कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल ऑलवेज. लोअर कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल ऑलवेज. कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल का यहां से क्या लेना देना? कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल का मतलब है कि व्हाट यू आर पेइंग अगेंस्ट द कैपिटल यू आर रिसीविंग. इन केस ऑफ डेट इट इज इंटरेस्ट रेट, इन केस ऑफ इक्विटी इट इज रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी. सो दैट इज नथिंग टू डू. इंक्रीज वर्नेबिलिटी टू इंटरेस्ट रेट चेंजेस. बिल्कुल, अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट चेंज होंगे तो आपकी इकोनॉमी, आपकी मांग, आपकी कंपनी की वर्नेबिलिटी बढ़ेगी. दैट इज करेक्ट. पोटेंशियल सॉल्वेंसी इश्यूज. बिल्कुल सर, अगर आपका डेट टू इक्विटी रेशियो ज्यादा है, दैट मीन्स कंपनी हैज पोटेंशियल सॉल्वेंसी इश्यूज एंड you never know, in the near future the company can be declared as insolvent. Company can be declared as insolvent. ठीक है जी, clear हुआ? Is this point clear? Is this point correct? Just give me yes sir. I hope it is clear to you everyone. समझ आ रहा होगा. चलो, moving on to the next point. किसी को कोई डाउट? समझ आ रहे हैं ना क्वेश्चंस, व्हाटएवर वी आर डिस्कसिंग? ग्रेटर लिवरेज क्यों ट्रू है मैं वो बता दूं अगर किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन हो रही है. डेट टू इक्विटी रेशियो डायरेक्टली मेजर्स फाइनेंशियल लिवरेज. हायर रेशियो, मोर डेट relative to equity, that means greater leverage ratio. So that is also correct. Moving on to the next point. Inflation can result from. Inflation कब होगा? When demand is greater than supply. This is correct. Inflation can result from increasing production cost. बिल्कुल cost of production बढ़ेगी. And if you want to maintain the same profit, if you want to achieve the same profit, prices will increase. That is correct. Excess money supply increases, demand will increase. Productivity gain. Productivity gain. What do you understand by the word productivity gain? अब productivity gain का मतलब ये है कि let's suppose guys I have increased the efficiency of my productivity. तो उससे क्या हो रहा है कि जो मेरा cost of production है वो कम हो गया, but I have not yet decreased my selling price in order to achieve higher profits. तो मैं सेलिंग प्राइस को तो इम्पैक्ट नहीं कर रहा ना, तो उसकी वजह से इन्फ्लेशन होगा. दैट्स नॉट करेक्ट. सप्लाई बॉटलनेक. बिल्कुल, अगर आपका सप्लाई चाहकर भी इंक्रीज नहीं हो सकता, डिमांड बढ़ती जाएगी, सप्लाई विल नॉट इंक्रीज एंड इट विल रिजल्ट इन इन्फ्लेशन. सो दैट इज करेक्ट. विच डिफरेंस आर करेक्ट? सीपीआई इंक्लूड सर्विसेज. बिल्कुल सर. डब्ल्यूपीआई एक्सक्लूड रिटेल मार्जिन. बिल्कुल. आरबीआई टारगेट सीपीआई इन्फ्लेशन. करेक्ट. डब्ल्यूपीआई रिफ्लेक्ट्स consumer price pressures directly. नहीं सर, WPI में we don't have consumer direct pressures, rather we have in case of CPI. Consumer price index weights food heavily in India. Yes, अगर आप food and beverages की बात करेंगे, in CPI its weightage is more than 45%. So keeping that in mind, A option is correct. अगला question देखो. Inflation management में what we require, if you want to decrease the inflation rates, you will tighten the monetary tightening means you are increasing the repo rate, you are increasing the CRR, SLR. That is correct. Fiscal discipline, बिल्कुल correct, where government will try to decrease its expenditure, increase its receipts. Supply side reforms, government will try to increase the supply of goods or services on which the demand is high, so that demand decreases with respect to supply, or the gap decreases between demand and supply. That is correct. Price control as a long term solution, price controls एज अ लॉन्ग टर्म सॉल्यूशन नहीं है. प्राइस को कंट्रोल करना तो इंस्टेंटली करना होगा, लॉन्ग टर्म में यू कैन नॉट कंट्रोल द प्राइस और इट कैन नॉट हैपन. एंकरिंग इन्फ्लेशन एक्सपेक्टेशंस, बिल्कुल सर, जो भी इन्फ्लेशन की एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं उन्हें आप पहले से चेक कर लो और उन्हीं के अगेंस्ट यू टेक द करेक्टिव मेजर्स इन ऑर्डर टू अवॉइड इमेंस इंक्रीज इन द प्राइसेस. अगला क्वेश्चन देखो, कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट रिगार्डिंग इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग. इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग के रिस्पेक्ट में इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द क्वेश्चंस, international banks they facilitate cross border capital flows and trade financing, बिल्कुल सही है. branch based international banking exposes host country to contingent risk. host country to contingent risk, ये point का मतलब क्या हुआ? so branches they transmit parent bank shocks directly. so if they are transmitting the parent bank shock directly, so they are exposed to, they exposes host country to contingent risk. that is correct. सब्सिडरी बेस्ड बैंकिंग स्ट्रक्चर इंसुलेट होस्ट इकोनॉमी बेटर देन ब्रांचेस. इसका मतलब बता, तो मान लो एक बैंक है, उस बैंक ने अपनी एक ब्रांच बनाई इंडिया में. अब अगर इस बैंक में कोई प्रॉब्लम हुई तो उसका डायरेक्ट इंपैक्ट इस ब्रांच पे भी आएगा और उसका इंपैक्ट उस एक कंट्री पे भी आएगा जिस कंट्री में वो ब्रांच सेटअप की गई है. दूसरी तरफ इस बैंक ने यहां पर एक होली ओन्ड सब्सिडरी बनाई और उस होली ओन्ड सब्सिडरी को एज अ प्राइवेट बैंक का लाइसेंस मिला टू ऑपरेट एज अ बैंक इन द कंट्री. उस केस में अगर यहां बैंक पे कोई इंपैक्ट आएगा भी तो उसका रिफ्लेक्शन उतना तेज नहीं होगा इन दी होस्ट कंट्री, और अगर होस्ट कंट्री में कोई इशू होगा तो उतना उसका रिफ्लेक्शन इन दी सोर्स कंट्री नहीं होगा. सोर्स का मतलब जहां से इन्वेस्टमेंट आ रही है, होस्ट का मतलब जहां इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है. सो कीपिंग दैट इन माइंड, थर्ड इज करेक्ट. इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग रिड्यूसेस एक्सचेंज रेट वॉलेटिलिटी इन होस्ट कंट्री. इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग अगर हो रही है तो यहां पे अगर कोई ब्रांच प्रॉफिट कमाएगी, इट विल टेक दोज फंड्स बैक टू देयर नेशन. तो यहां पे तो ज्यादा डिमांड होगी फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की डिमांड ज्यादा तो वॉलेटिलिटी बढ़ेगी. सो दिस इज रॉन्ग. रेगुलेटरी कोऑर्डिनेशन इज क्रिटिकल ड्यू टू रेगुलेटरी आर्बिट्रेज रिस्क. रेगुलेटरी कोऑर्डिनेशन जो है वो क्रिटिकल है क्योंकि आर्बिट्रेज रिस्क है, regulatory arbitrage risk है, which means there is a difference between regulations in US and regulations in India. तो जिसकी वजह से वो ही difference जो है that can create a risk scenario. that is correct. So answer to this particular question will be A option. Moving on to the next one. Which of the following statement correctly describes financial stability? Financial stability refers to ability of the system to absorb shock. बिल्कुल, जितना ज्यादा कैपेबल होगा सिस्टम टू एब्जॉर्ब शॉक, दैट विल बी मोर स्टेबल. माइक्रोप्रूडेंशियल रेगुलेशंस अलोन इज सफिशिएंट टू एंश्योर स्टेबिलिटी. नहीं सर, माइक्रो एंड मैक्रो बोथ आर रिक्वायर्ड. एसेट प्राइस बबल्स कैन थ्रेटन फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी इवन विदाउट इन्फ्लेशन. बिल्कुल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम आज की डेट में बात करें, बहुत जगह आपने सुना होगा कि इंडिया में स्पेशली इन एनसीआर जो रियल एस्टेट है, its price is increasing and it's a kind of bubble which can burst over the period of time. So even if India में ज़्यादा inflation rates नहीं है, but there is a possibility of this problem which can arise. So this is correct. अगला point है, systematically important financial institutions pose moral hazard risk. This is correct. Counter cyclical buffer aims to smooth the credit cycle. Yes, and it is maintained on the basis of credit to GDP gap ratio. ठीक है जी. Moving on to the next one. Too big to fail. I hope आपने सुना होगा banks which are too big to fail. I have a question regarding them. Too big to fail institutions they increase systematic risk. अगर SBI fail हुआ तो उसकी वजह से पूरी की पूरी इकोनॉमी फेल होने के चांसेस हैं. That is the reason it is too big to fail and it will impact the entire economy. Government bailouts create moral hazards. गवर्नमेंट के जो बेल आउट्स हैं दे क्रिएट मॉरल हैजार्ड्स. एनी आइडिया गाइस इस वर्ड का मतलब क्या है? एनी आइडिया? हैव यू एवर हर्ड दिस टर्म? इसका क्या मतलब है, इसको आप कैसे समझते हैं, इसको आप कैसे देखते हैं? गवर्नमेंट बेल आउट क्रिएट मॉरल हैजार्ड्स, एनी आइडिया, एनीवन? See, moral hazard arises when entity they take excessive risk because it believes it will be protected from the negative consequences of that risk. So when government bail out banks, financial institutions or companies, it can encourage them to behave less prudently in the near future because they know अगर कुछ होगा तो गवर्नमेंट हमें बचा ही लेगी. तो उस केस में government bailouts create moral hazard, that is correct. Resolution framework aims to avoid taxpayer funded bailouts. Resolution frameworks aim to avoid taxpayer funded bailouts, बिल्कुल सही है सर. Higher capital surcharges are imposed on government security. Higher capital surcharges, एक second. Higher capital surcharges are imposed on GSIBs. Any idea guys, what is this GSIB? Anyone? Important term है, फिर बात करेंगे कि ये statement correct है या false है. But first of all, give me the answer. What does this means basically? अगर एक क्वेश्चन मुझसे कोई पूछेगा तो मैं आंसर क्या दूंगा? मेरा आंसर बड़ा लॉजिकल सा होगा कि सर ग्लोबली सिस्टमैटिकली इंपॉर्टेंट बैंक GSIB are the banks whose failure could result a serious risk to the global financial system due to their size, interconnectedness, complexity, cross-judicial activity and lack of sustainability. So they are identified by Financial Stability Board using Basel Committee methodology and they are important in nature. तो हमारे पास अभी ये जो क्वेश्चन आएगा वो क्या? Higher capital surcharges, yes, 0.5 to 3.5% of risk-weighted asset in the form of Tier 1 capital depends on banks' systematic importance can be there. So it can be higher surcharge where you have to maintain higher reserves in comparison to the other banks. Too big to fail risk can be eliminated completely through ना सर, इसे तो आप eliminate कर ही नहीं सकते because it is because of size. अब उनके sizes आप कम करेंगे नहीं और उनके risk को eliminate कर नहीं सकते. So keeping that in mind, A option is correct. Next, the next point is again important. अगला point देखो, अगला question देखो. The question talks about which of the statement is correct with respect to social cost benefit analysis. तो social cost benefit analysis के basis पे which of the following statements are correct? तो पहली statement देखते हैं. पहली statement हमें क्या कह रही है? Social cost and benefit analysis includes externalities ignored by private market. Shadow pricing is used to reflect true economic value. Distributional impact are relevant. Social cost benefit analysis is essential for evaluating public investment projects. Market prices always reflect social cost accurately. बताओ जरा इनमें से कौन कौन से points correct होने चाहिए? Think again, think twice and then give me the answer. See, social cost benefit analysis includes externalities which are ignored by private market. This is correct. This is correct. Because explicitly incorporates positive and negative externalities, example pollution, social benefits that private cost benefit basically ignores. Next is shadow pricing is used to reflect true economic value. See, market prices, they may be market prices may be disturbed by taxes, subsidies and other controls. So shadow prices, they adjust for these disturbances to reflect social opportunity cost. So this is correct. Distributional impact are irrelevant. No sir, they are relevant. They are not irrelevant. They are much relevant. Is essential for evaluating. Correct. Market prices always reflect social cost accurately. No sir. Government use SCBA to assess whether a project improves overall social welfare or not, and due to the externalities, public goods, monopolies and information asymmetry, market prices, they often fail to reflect the true social cost. So keeping that in mind, first option is correct. Next is with reference to ESG finance, consider the following statement. With reference to ESG finance, consider the following statement. First one, ESG integrates environmental, social, governance risk into investment decision. Correct. ESG finance primarily focus on ethical considerations, not financial risk. This is wrong. This is not correct. रेगुलेटर्स, अगर हम इसमें बात करें, रेगुलेटर्स दे नाउ view climate transition and physical risk as a balance sheet risk, not as a moral risk. So in that particular context, this statement is wrong. Climate risks are increasingly treated as financial risk by the regulators. This is correct. Greenwashing undermines ESG credibility. Correct hai. ESG disclosure improve market discipline. Correct. So answer to this particular question will be A option. Next question. Which of the following principles are central to public-private partnership framework? Risk should be allocated to party best able to manage them. Correct. Demand risk is always borne by private partner. Demand risk is always borne by private partner. No sir, this is wrong. Government guarantees reduce private sector efficiency. Government की जो guarantees हैं, they will reduce the private sector efficiency. बिल्कुल अगर guarantee ना हो, they will work in more appropriate manner. Poor risk allocation can lead to project failure. Correct. PPPs reduce fiscal risk automatically. नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं है. Fiscal risk are still there. They are not reduced, but they are shifted. They are distributed. तो उसके basis पे the correct answer will be 1, 3 and 4 are correct, but second and fifth statement is wrong. Moving on to the next question. Global inflation in recent year has been driven by, जो global inflation है, in the recent year it has been driven by supply chain disruptions, expansionary fiscal stimulus, energy price shocks, deglobalization trends, declining labor bargaining power. तो यहाँ पे अगर हम बात करें जो global inflation है, that has witnessed the issues with respect to first one, supply chain disruptions, बिल्कुल सही है. Expansionary fiscal stimulus correct है. Energy price shock correct है. Deglobalization correct है. लेकिन labor power decline नहीं हुई, बल्कि labor की जो bargaining power it has increased over the period of time. So keeping that in mind, A option is correct. Last question of the evening, guys. Which differences exist between inflation management in advanced economies as well as in the emerging economies? Emerging economies face higher exchange rate pass through. Correct है, higher exchange rate है for India, US dollar, that is correct. Advanced economies, they have stronger monetary policy credibility. Correct है. Emerging economies rely more on supply side intervention. Correct. Advanced economies are immune to food inflation shocks. नहीं sir, they are also impacted to food inflation. Emerging economies face capital flow volatility during tightening cycles. Capital flow volatility during tightening cycles. हाँ, capital flow volatility तो होगा. When you will be going with tightening cycles, you will be decreasing money supply in the market. So capital flow impact hoga. So answer is going to be A option. So that will be all from my side, guys, with some questions related to finance. If you have enjoyed it, do like the session and do not forget to download the PDF, which will be available on my Telegram channel. Good luck. Bye-bye. Take care. See you soon. God bless you all.